Stop replying to texts that just don't feel right and really listen closely to what I'm about to tell you. This is because the messages men send you are not just random words on a screen. They are carefully planned ways to mess with your feelings, make you expect less, and keep you waiting around without them putting in any real effort or commitment. I have looked at thousands and thousands of text conversations between men and women from all types of backgrounds you can think of over the past 17 years, and there are four specific ways of texting that when a man uses them with you, they don't just show he is confused or not that interested. They show you exactly how he plans to play with your feelings, make you doubt yourself, and waste months or even years of your life while he keeps looking for someone better. These are not just misunderstandings or different ways of sending messages. They are carefully set traps that look like normal, everyday texting. The second you notice them, you need to realize that you are not dealing with someone who is simply busy or bad at staying in touch. You are dealing with someone who has already decided that you are not worth his real time and attention. You are only useful enough to keep interested when it doesn't take much effort. Stay with me until I show you these ways, because this behavior is so common in dating today that almost every woman accepts it. They even make excuses for it, calling it normal guy behavior. And it is the one thing that stops you from seeing when a man truly likes you more than others. Before I show you these four texting behaviors that should make you block him right away, you need to understand something that will totally change how you read every message you get from men from now on. Most women have been taught by movies, magazine articles, and well-meaning friends to believe that being understanding means accepting any texting style a guy gives you, instead of expecting the kind of communication you actually deserve. We have been taught to think that the right woman can make a man text better, and that if we just stay patient and interesting enough, he will finally make us a priority in his messages. This way of thinking is so deep in how we see things that we can no longer tell the difference between a man who is genuinely busy with real things in his life and a man who is playing games and keeping us confused while he sees if someone more exciting shows up. We have been taught to view our need for steady texting as asking for too much, instead of understanding that wanting clarity and consistency is what creates real connection. Old wisdom tells us that how someone communicates shows you who they truly are better than anything else they do. But modern dating has made us think that paying attention to texting behaviors makes us crazy, and that accepting things that are not steady means we are mature. Here is what nobody tells you about the texting ways I'm about to show you. They are not accidents or just different personalities. They are tests to see how much being ignored you will put up with and how willing you are to throw away what you need to make things easier for him. Every man who uses these ways has used them before, has seen how well they work to train women to expect fewer messages and stay more emotionally ready for him. And he is counting on you to make excuses for what he is doing instead of seeing it for what it truly is. What I'm about to share with you is not just advice about dating. It is a way to protect yourself that will save not only your heart, but your whole future. This is because the man you give your time and energy to does not just affect your love life. He affects your job, your friendships, your family relationships, your money, your mental health, and most importantly, how you see yourself. Choose the wrong guy and you will spend years trying to feel okay again while watching your dreams disappear because you are putting all your energy into someone who never planned to give anything back. The first texting behavior that should make you block him right away, not after one more conversation, not after giving him another chance, but right this second, is when a man keeps sending you good morning or hope you are having a great day texts without any real meaning, without following through on anything, or without actually asking you out or trying to build something real. This behavior is the most sneaky kind of manipulation in texting today because it is meant to make you think he is thinking about you when really He is doing the absolute smallest thing possible to keep you interested while putting in zero real effort. When a man sends these empty greeting messages, he is not showing he likes you or cares about you. He is simply doing the least amount needed to stop you from moving on, so he does not have to do any actual work like getting to know you or building a connection. He is basically just reminding you he exists, just enough that you do not forget about him and start talking to someone else, but not enough that he has to have real conversations, make actual plans, or show real interest in your life. This behavior works so well because it uses a woman's natural tendency to see any attention as good attention. Here is what is really happening when he sends these messages with nothing meaningful behind them. He has already decided that you are not someone he wants to truly pursue, but you are handy enough to keep in his back pocket until someone he likes more shows up. He wants to start this low-effort pattern right away so that when he disappears for days and then comes back with another pointless, "Hey," you have learned to see it as normal. He gets your continued replies, your feelings, your hope that this might become something, and your patience, all while keeping the freedom to send the same quick message to 10 other women without giving anything real to anyone. The worst part about this behavior is that it creates a fake feeling of consistency that makes you feel like something is growing between you when actually nothing is moving forward at all. You start seeing these empty messages as proof that he cares, that he is thinking about you during his day, that things are building between you. But the truth is, he is probably sending the same general greeting to many women while he is watching TV or looking at his phone. You end up being grateful for tiny pieces and convincing yourself that tiny pieces are actually a full meal. This way of texting is very damaging because it takes up your attention and emotional energy without making him show anything about who he really is, what he actually wants, or how interested he really is in you. You can get these meaningless greetings for weeks or even months without ever having a real conversation that would show you whether he is actually a good match for you or seriously interested in knowing who you are. He is keeping you emotionally hooked while stopping any real closeness from growing, which means you are wasting your time in a fake connection that will never become anything real. What makes this even more painful is how it affects your standards over time. When you accept these low-effort messages as enough, you start to forget what real effort actually looks like. You begin to think that any message at all means he is interested, that any attention is better than no attention, and you lower your expectations so much that you can't even recognize when someone is treating you well anymore. This behavior does not just waste your time with one guy, it changes how you see all men and what you are willing to accept from them. The second texting behavior that should make you delete his number is when a man takes hours or even days to reply to your messages, but then immediately likes your social media posts or watches your Instagram stories during that same time. This behavior is not about being busy or having different texting styles. This is about showing you that you are not a priority while also checking to make sure you are still available and still interested in him. When a man does this, he is not confused. He is making a clear choice about his actions. This behavior shows you something really important about what he wants. He wants to stay visible in your mind without having to actually talk to you in ways that might lead to you expecting something from him or holding him accountable. He is showing you that he has the time and attention to scroll through your photos and watch what you post, but not enough time to actually reply to your direct message from 12 hours ago. This is not a difference in communication. This is a clear message about your value to him. You are interesting enough to watch from far away, but not important enough to actually talk to up close. What makes this pattern so confusing is that it creates constant doubt that keeps you in a state of thinking too much and trying to figure everything out. You see proof that he is on his phone, clearly not too busy to be on social media, obviously seeing what you are posting and doing, but somehow he cannot reply to your message from half a day ago. Your brain tries hard to make sense of these mixed signals, and while you are busy trying to understand his behavior, you are not paying attention to what his actions are actually telling you, which is that you do not matter enough for real engagement. Men who use this behavior have figured out that it is really good at keeping women interested while they check out other options. They have learned that by staying just present enough through social media likes and story views, they can stop you from giving up on them while never having to commit to actual conversation. They get to watch your life, check if you are seeing other guys, and see how interested you still are, all without giving back anything or showing any of their own plans. This pattern also does something else that is very clever. It trains you to be happy and thankful when he finally does text back. After hours or days of silence with only story views and post likes, when he eventually sends a message, you are so relieved that the confusion is over that you reply all excited instead of calling him out for his disrespectful behavior. He is teaching you to accept being ignored as normal and to celebrate simple communication as something special, which completely messes up your standards in a way that helps him. The truly harmful part is how this affects how you feel about yourself over time. You start questioning yourself, wondering if you are being too sensitive or expecting too much, asking yourself if you are overthinking or being paranoid. You might even start posting things specifically to see if he will watch or like them, which means now he is controlling your actions without even talking to you. You are giving him power over how you feel about yourself based on whether you get the smallest bit of attention. The third texting behavior that should make every alarm go off is when a man sends long, meaningful texts late at night but then completely disappears during the day. This is not about having different schedules. This is about someone who wants emotional and possibly physical attention on his terms, without any of the responsibilities. He is showing you that he wants you to exist in a secret life instead of being someone he is building a relationship with. This connection only exists in the dark and in private, where he can be open and close without any risk that this closeness will turn into real commitment or him having to recognize you in public. This pattern lets him get deep emotional connection and likely sexual conversation or attention while making sure you never become part of his real, visible daytime world. You are his secret source of emotional support and physical attention, kept separate from his actual priorities and real relationships. What makes this extra painful is that those late-night texts often feel incredibly real and connecting. He opens up, shares his feelings, asks deep questions, creates intense closeness, and you see this openness as proof that something meaningful is happening between you. But real connections do not hide in the darkness. They do not disappear when the sun comes up, and they do not need secrecy to survive. This behavior creates a fake closeness that feels deep in the moment, but never turns into actual relationship progress or anything real. This situation is especially manipulative because it takes advantage of your natural human reaction to emotional openness. When someone shares their feelings and inner thoughts with you, you naturally become invested and attached. He is using late-night emotional availability to create a bond that keeps you hooked, while his daytime distance makes sure you can never use that bond to get actual commitment or a steady presence in his life. You are stuck in a cycle where nighttime closeness gives you hope and daytime absence makes you worried, keeping you constantly unsure of where you stand. The cruelest part of this behavior is that it makes you a part of your own bad treatment. You start protecting his late-night texting time, planning your evenings around when he might reach out, staying available when you should be living your life and doing your own thing, all while accepting that during actual daytime hours, when real life is happening, you do not exist to him. You have been pushed to the shadows of his life, and you are working hard to be available in those shadows instead of demanding to be seen in the light where real relationships exist. What is even more damaging is how this behavior affects your daily life and mental state. You find yourself staying up later than you should, losing sleep, being tired the next day, all because you are waiting for his messages or replying to them when they come. Your daytime becomes something you just get through so you can get to nighttime when he might text. You are essentially splitting yourself into two people. The daytime you who lives a normal life and the nighttime you who exists for him. And this split is tiring and not something you can keep up. The fourth and most mentally destructive texting behavior, the one that damages more women's ability to recognize real interest than any other, is when a man responds to your messages with questions that sound interested, but never shares anything real about himself, his life, his plans, or what he wants with you. This behavior sounds like real interest and engagement, and that is exactly why it is so damaging. Women get these question-filled replies and feel like he is curious about them, invested in knowing them, and really interested in their thoughts and experiences. But what you are actually getting is a smart trick that pulls out your emotional investment while he shows nothing and risks nothing. When a man keeps asking you questions without telling you things about himself in return, he is not being a good listener or showing healthy interest. He is keeping complete control of the situation by making sure that all emotional openness and investment flows one way, from you to him. This pattern lets him learn everything about you, your habits, your weak spots, your desires, your availability, while you learn absolutely nothing real about him, his actual life situation, his real relationship status, or what he genuinely wants with you. This way of texting is especially sneaky because it reverses the natural way connection and attraction should grow. In healthy early communication, both people slowly share information about themselves, taking turns being open and gradually building mutual knowledge and investment. But when he only asks questions, he is putting himself in the position of interviewer and you in the position of someone trying to get hired, which completely messes up the power balance. You are proving your worth through your answers while he judges from a place of complete safety whether you are good enough. What makes this behavior so damaging mentally is that it teaches you to connect his attention with how well you perform instead of with your true self. You start editing your replies, trying to be interesting enough, funny enough, or deep enough, instead of thinking about the communication style itself. You become so focused on answering his questions that you do not notice he is never answering any or giving back the openness. Men who use this behavior have learned that asking questions is the easiest way to keep women talking and involved. It requires no openness, shows no information that could be used to check if what he says is true or judge his character, and creates no responsibility because he has never said what he wants or made any promises. He can ask about your day, your interests, or your thoughts on different topics forever without ever moving toward actual dates, real plans, or a clear relationship direction. The most heartbreaking thing about this trick is that it uses your natural desire to be known and understood against you. Humans want to be truly seen. And when someone asks questions about us, we think that means they care and are interested. You feel special because he is asking about your childhood, your dreams, your opinions, and your experiences. But he is actually just collecting information to decide whether you are worth real effort, while making sure that if he decides you are not, he has not put in anything real that would make him feel bad about disappearing. This behavior also works to stop you from asking the questions that would show uncomfortable truths. When you are busy answering his questions, you are not asking why you have been texting for weeks without meeting in person, why he never shares details about his schedule or his life, or why every time you try to suggest actual plans, he changes the topic with another question. He is keeping you in a reaction mode, responding to what he asks, instead of an action mode where you might demand the same energy back or ask for clarity about what this actually is. What makes this even worse is how it affects your sense of self over time. You become so focused on being the right answer to his questions that you lose touch with what you actually want and need. You stop asking yourself if this communication behavior feels good to you, if you are getting what you need, or if this is actually going anywhere, because you are too busy trying to be interesting enough to keep his attention. You forget that your job is not to pass his test. Your job is to decide if he passes yours. Now that you know these 4 texting patterns and what they truly mean, you might be feeling angry, recognized, or maybe relieved that someone finally put words to things you could not quite name. You might be looking back at past situations or current message threads with completely new eyes. And that is exactly the change in awareness that should be happening. This information is not meant to make you suspicious of every man who texts you or negative about dating in general. It is designed to give you the ability to quickly get rid of people who are not serious. Here is what I need you to really understand. There are men out there who will never use these patterns, who are not testing how much you will accept. There are men who send real messages with actual meaning because they genuinely want to connect, who reply at normal hours because you are a priority to them, who share information about themselves because they want you to know them, and who ask questions and answer them because they understand that real closeness needs both people. These men exist, but you will never notice them if you are accepting communication patterns that go against your gut feeling about what is right. You will never attract them if you are putting up with treatment that goes against your natural need for consistency and respect. You will never build something real with them if you are tiring yourself out trying to figure out hidden meanings in messages from someone who has no plan to be clear or direct with you. Start trusting your first reactions to texting behaviors instead of talking yourself out of them with excuses. If someone's texting behavior feels wrong in the first few days of talking, it absolutely is. If you find yourself making excuses for why someone takes days to reply or only texts late at night, pay attention to that uncomfortable feeling inside you. If you notice yourself trying harder to be interesting or changing how you text to match someone else's minimal effort, that is important information about what is really going on. Here is the final truth I want to leave you with. You are not responsible for teaching people how to text you with respect. You are not responsible for accepting poor treatment because someone might get better eventually, and you are not responsible for staying in texting patterns that make you feel worried, confused, or unimportant just because blocking someone feels hard. Your job is not to be so understanding, so patient, or so flexible that you accept communication that makes you feel bad about yourself. Your job is to honor what you need, trust your gut, keep your standards, and build a life where people's actions actually match their words. The connection you are looking for is looking for you too, but it can only find you when you stop accepting communication that feels wrong. It can only recognize you when you are being your real self, not when you are acting like an easier, less demanding version of who you actually are. So, the next time someone sends you one of these 4 texting patterns, remember this conversation and remember that you deserve so much more than someone who needs to be convinced that you are worth a real message.